Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/iScreamUploads. My name is Graham Day, and this man in the box, who I'm going to take out of the box and put in the split screen, is the man that we call Baby.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We nailed it.
I'm saying it specifically at you again, just for the mental reinforcement, so we both remember that it is, in fact, not the morning. So for those of you that don't know, this is The Scoop. We are Ice Cream, and the show is The Scoop. This is your daily dose of news from the games industry and beyond. We bring you all the biggest, best, and breaking news stories that have happened in the world of gaming in the last 24 hours, because, you know, we had a show 24 hours ago. The things that happened since then. Anyway, as mentioned, my name is Graham Day. This is Bibi, and yeah, we go live at 2 p.m. Well, it's usually 10 a.m., but at the moment we're going live at 2 p.m. each and every single weekday on twitch.tv/iScreamUploads. So if you are in the chat, please feel free to get involved in the conversation as we bring you the news stories. We give you our thoughts and impressions on those stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. And that's important because we turn this into a video that goes out on YouTube about an hour or so after we've got off air. So those guys get to watch on demand if you're on YouTube. Hi. Yeah, they get to watch on demand, but they don't get to interact live in the chat, so feel free to do that. It's on you guys to do that as well, because we turn it into an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play a little bit later on in the day. But, Bib! What you got? Been up to in the last 24 hours, open up? Anything exciting?
Good question. I don't actually think I have. I played 4 rounds of golf on the golf club last night with the lads. The golf club 2 is actually £2.50 at the moment, so the lads all went and picked it up, and we ended up having having 3 or 4 rounds last night. Good fun. I enjoy playing their games anyway, and it's their first time playing them, so that was all the gaming that I did yesterday. What about you, though?
I have invested in the Battle Pass for Call of Duty Warzone because I had some CP stood there burning a hole in my digital pocket. So I now have the Battle Pass. I went up a few levels and, you know, started to get into the idea of Warzone. Played some Plunder, and I literally sat there playing with my mates Martin, James, and Nathan, and I'm just thinking, this mode's shit, it's crap, it's too slow, it's not exciting, it's crap, it's shit. And then it finally clicked, and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty exciting, is this? It's pretty good, because it's not so, Plunder's not so much about the kills. Yes, you can kill people and take their cash off them, but we just basically kept all spawning, and it was kind of like spawn, die, lose money, spawn, die, lose money, spawn, kill people, yeah, die, lose money, and it was just like a cycle, not getting anywhere. But then we realised that like we were playing it kind of tactically. We'd have 2 people going one place, 2 people going to another place, looting, getting choppers, going do contracts and stuff, and yeah. Anyway, long story short, I started out hating Plunder, and by the end of it, I thought it was a pretty tasty mode. So if you haven't tried Plunder in Warzone, give it a try.
I'll have to try that. It's been a while since I booted that up, actually.
I may be on it again a little bit later on, so if you want to jump in, give me a shout, boy.
Yeah.
Tito25, aka Tito. How you doing, Tito? Good afternoon. If anyone has Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, Football Manager 2020 is on that, free to play on PC. Interesting. I know Football Manager was free to play on PC for a week, but yeah, you got Game Pass Ultimate on you, Bib.
I have. I've just booted up my console companion now to actually have a look at this.
And that's it. I might as well just kill Bibby's camera now. We've lost Bibby to the world of Football Manager. Cheers to you.
The only reason I didn't play it, the 2-week trial thing, because it was kind of doing my head in. Like, I didn't want to boot it up to play for 2 weeks and then have to pay £40 at the end of it. So the fact that it's on Games Pass now tickles my fancy quite.
I imagine Football Manager is one of those games that you can't just play for 2 weeks. If you play it for 2 weeks, you are hooked. So, like the free trial, it's kind of like having a dealer just giving you your first couple of lines or whatever free just to get you addicted, and then like that's it. It's all yours now, mate. They've done it. They've even done it in the Ice Cream Uploads colour scheme. Well, that's it. Bibby 2-stream nailed on. That's it. I mean, Pez.
That's it.
I mean, Ice Cream Uploads launched, I think 2018 or whatever. We gave Pez a year, and Pez changed to purple. Everything else has just been like full on purple this year. I mean, I'm trying to remember what. There was quite a few things that all just kind of switched to purple. So it's just
purple is the best colour anyway.
Well, you know, Ice Cream Uploads setting trends. Anyway. Speaking about trends, it seems to be you guys are just trendsetters. Exactly, as Tito says. Well, you know what? speaking about trends, you were talking about things being given away for free, which that's a nice, tedious link into our first news article of the day, and it's potentially a tasty one. Could it be enough to upset many wrongs that have been done in the past few months? Well, let us know as we jump into the first bit of news, written by Matt Wales for Eurogamer, and Stadia Pro is currently free for 2 months. Update, the basic version is now free to all permanently. So the update to the article. Actually, let's go through the story first, and then we'll jump onto the update afterwards, so we can get it in context. The original story, as posted at 5:27 last night, says Google is making the premium version of its much maligned video game streaming service Stadia Pro free for 2 months in response to what it calls some of the most challenging times in recent memory. And then there's a quote within the article that says, keeping social distance is vital, but staying home for long periods can be difficult and feel isolating, wrote Stadia Vice President and General Manager Phil Harrison in the new blog post. Video games can be a valuable way to socialise with friends and family when you're stuck at home, so we're giving gamers in 14 countries free access to Stadia for 2 months. Those interested in putting Stadia Pro through its paces can do so simply by signing up via the official website, whereupon instant access will be provided to 9 games: Destiny 2 The Collection, Grid, Guilt, SteamWorld Dig 2, SteamWorld Quest Hands of Gilgamesh, Gilgamesh, Serious Sam Collection, Spitlings, Stacks on Stacks, and Thumper. Excuse me. Once you've got the Stadia app installed on your iOS or Android device, games can be played through your laptop, desktop, or Chrome OS tablet using a compatible controller or keyboard and mouse, as long as they're HID compliant. It's also possible to play wirelessly using a Google Pixel or other supported Android device. Any additional games purchased during the trial will remain tied to your Stadia account, even if you choose not to continue your subscription. And on that subject, it's worth noting that you'll need to opt out if you've had enough. Otherwise, you'll be charged the usual £8.99 or $99 per month subscription fee once the offer ends. Existing Stadia Pro subscribers, incidentally, won't be charged for the next 2 months. Google is keen to stress, given that it could be seen to be encouraging increased broadband usage at a time when bandwidth demands are high, and companies such as Valve and Sony are taking steps to reduce usage, that it's adopting a reasonable approach to internet traffic. And then there's a quote within the article that says, for Stadia, we've always adjusted bandwidth use based on a variety of in-home and local internet factors, it says. To reduce the load on internet further, we're working toward a temporary feature that changes the default screen resolution from 4K to 1080p. The vast majority of people on desktop or laptop won't notice a significant drop in gameplay quality, but you can choose your data usage options in the Stadia app. Google's free Stadia Pro offer starts today and will begin rolling out over the next 48 hours. Okay, so let's jump back to the top and see the update. So, 2.5 hours after that came out, an update said, a Stadia spokesman has clarified that while 4K 60 FPS Stadia Pro subscription service is indeed free for 2 months, as per Phil Harrison's blog post, the considerably more significant news, as squirreled away in a separate fact sheet, is that the basic free version of Stadia, which offers streaming at 1080p 60 FPS with stereo sound, is also now available to all permanently, provided they have a Gmail address. So, interesting. I mean, at the very first glance, that's pretty nice. But what's your take on that, babe?
Well, we've always said that credit where credit's due. It's took them long enough to get to a point now where they're able to actually roll out the free version. I wasn't expecting them to give the pro version away for free. That's something that I wasn't expecting at all. But the fact that they have now done that for the next 2 months, you've kind of got to give them credit. There's a lot of other places that have given their services away for free for everybody else to consume while they're having to spend long periods inside the house. So they're doing their bit now as well. They didn't have to do that, but they have done that. And there is a few games in there that probably would tickle a few people's fancy. So yeah, I mean, it's a thumbs up for me. They're on that road to recovery now. It's going to be a long road for them. They've got a long way to go, but they've started from my standpoint that this is the first step towards it, and then I want that path. Let's see how far they can go with it.
I mean, there's a very, very clear and obvious and probably already widely asked devil's advocate question, but we'll leave that for a second now. We'll forget what the motives are. I mean, obviously, that question is: are they doing this because they want to help people with everything that's going on with COVID-19 at the moment? Are they doing that because of that, which is what they say in the article, or is this a roll of the dice to try and get people on it? We'll jump on that in a minute, because it's a good conversation line. It's probably the obvious conversation line. But before we start pulling them down, it is a good step. It's finally a good step. We've kind of said this for a while in terms of if you were one of the early adopters and you got the Pro service and everything wasn't up to scratch, as it wasn't when Stadia first launched, excuse me, we were saying it would be nice for them to give something back, to give a bunch of months, be 2-3 months, whatever it is, give that time back to the people that have paid to be founders, to put Stadia out there, give them that Pro service for free, because these guys are helping to try set the foundations for the business, for the hardware, for the community going forward, and it's been subpar based on what they were expecting to get. So giving that back, they've essentially done that, but then taking it an extra step. So giving everyone access to Stadia Pro free for 2 months. That's the what is it? Where you buy a new phone or something like that, and it's like, for new customers, sign up for a new, and it's always about new customers. If you're new to the thing, you get the best offer and the best discounts. And if you're an existing customer, then I'm sorry, mate, you're already bought into our ecosystem, so screw you. You can just get the average offers, but you can't get you can get offers, but not the best offers. Whereas they've kept their existing users in mind. It's okay, you guys are paying. We have your money now. You are giving us the money. However, you keep hold of that. Don't give it us. We don't want your money for 2 months. You keep that. So that's a nice gesture. That's a reward to the people of, okay, we are going to throw this out. We are going to try build a service. We want to bring extra users in to the Stadia family, but we're not going to take it out on you yet. So you keep that money in your pocket, which that is a nice gesture. But then, like I say, the more significant news, as it says in here, the fact that the basic free version of Stadia, which does offer you 1080 60 FPS with stereo sound, will now be available to all for free permanently, and that's a nice move. That is a nice move, and that, I think, we do have a Stadia. We mention this every time we talk about Stadia, but because it was so below par, I didn't even bother to fully investigate what we did or didn't have, or what the Stadia offering was, and I just assumed that was something that should have been there as standard. So obviously, Bibby, you've played not loads, but because it's a bit shit. Well, it has been, but you've played more, played with the Stadia more than I have. So that free 1080p 60 FPS stereo sound account, if you create that account, does that mean that you can play all of the games that are on Stadia that you haven't, that are the free games, you can play all of those without having to pay anything then?
As far as I'm aware, yes, I haven't tested it yet. So it will be something that we'll be testing over the next couple of days or so, because I think now I can use my browser rather than just using the Chromecast Ultra.
Yeah.
Is that what the thing that comes with it? Yeah, because obviously that's in work, and we can't go to work at the moment. So yeah, I'm going to try and test it on my PC, whether or not I can run it using my browser. If I can, great. If I can't, I'll have to wait a couple of months until we're allowed back into the building. But yeah, it's again a step in the right direction. As I said, there's a couple of games in there that are actually bangers. The fact that you can, again, if you are still banging to Destiny, you can play that wherever you go and you can start to grind stuff out. There was an article that we read out at one point where someone took it on holiday with them when they was traveling elsewhere. They was playing it on their laptop or via the Chromecast in their bedroom. They said it was okay to play single player, but PvP was a no-go because the servers was unstable to be able to pump out that amount of stuff. So yeah, it's got the capability of being able to play. I mean, Football Manager you can play on that now, can't you? It wasn't listed in that game set for you to be able to pick up and play, but it is available to do so.
Yeah. So those interested in putting Stadia Pro through its paces can do so simply by signing up via the official website, whereupon instant access will be provided to 9 games: Destiny 2, the collection, Grid, Guild, and then I'll stop there because it goes into things that are just less appealing. I mean, from my perspective, obviously, you may absolutely want to play stacks on stacks on stacks, or SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh. I mean, maybe that is your thing. It's not my thing. So, yes, I imagine those are the games that they're giving. Will they be free forever? That's kind of one thing I want to know. So, like, I mean, Destiny is free anyway now, right? That is right.
Yeah, the base game is all free to play. Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, a lot of these games have been free. Like Grid is free. There, I know I'm getting that mixed with Dirt, which I was going to say that's currently free on PS Plus, but that's Dirt Rally 2. But yeah, a decent selection of games there, free. So that is a good offering. Forget any context or anything. That is a good offering, giving you access to a service that you can play, you can take on the go, that will give you high specs, so you can get 4K content out of it, 4K 60, to get some world class gameplay. Essentially, I mean 4K 60. Yeah. I don't get that on my PlayStation, my PS4 Pro, which is sat just there. That doesn't give me 4K 60. So yeah, that is good. However, now we add in the context. So the bit that I said, the obvious sort of devil's advocate question is it enough, and why? Why have they done
why
this?
Now?
Yeah, exactly. Just jump out through the chat first. Asim, he's using a motorbike. What does that say?
Hello.
There we go. How the devil are you, sir? Tito says, nope, I don't think game streaming is ready yet. And even then, why would I go for Stadia when Projekt xCloud is likely to offer me more for free? That's a good shout as well.
Very, very good point.
The Fatman Dave, good afternoon, says, if they'd got it right out of the gate, they would be making money hand over fist with COVID happening. Good point. Tito says, I think this is a last gasp effort to attract players. I think they've lost a bit of goodwill with a rushed launch.
Did you drop a fact the other day? Or was it last night? It was either you or Mark said about the player base.
70% of the player base is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a lot to get them guys back, especially because their subscriptions would have run out now as well. So they had the initial subscription of being a pro member to try and get them to subscribe again, and we'll see whether or not a lot of them seemingly didn't, which is why they've lost the 70%.
Another interesting thing is, so obviously we've got the why now, and they're saying keeping social distance is vital, but staying home for long periods can be difficult and feel isolating. This is wrote by Stadia Vice President and General Manager Phil Harrison. Video games can be a valuable way to socialise with friends and family when you're stuck at home, so we're giving gamers in 14 countries free access to Stadia for 2 months. Essentially, Google's tack is, we are giving access to Stadia Pro because it's the right thing to do right now. Yes, this is something that we want people to pay for, and yes, we know that this is where we can make money, but we don't want to make money off this now because we believe the right thing to do is to put it in your hands for free. But whose hands? That's the question. I mean, there was 70% of people that had it in their hands have already put it down because it's like, nah, mate, it's not for me. I'm paying for something that's below par, substandard. So are they giving this out because of that, or are they seeing that as a nice way to basically, like, what, a Blue Cross sale their product, stick a big sale discount, because nobody wants to see their service discounted. If your service is discounted and discounted out of a rush, out of a need, then that's not inspirational discount. You don't think, oof, I've got to buy that, that's a bargain. You instantly think, oh, okay, that's like rats on a sinking ship kind of thing. It's like, no, yeah. I don't want to throw money onto a sinking ship because it's just going to go down with the ship. So by using this, is that them going, okay, this gives us a legitimate way of discounting the service whilst keeping us in a good PR stead in terms of, yes, we're doing this for the greater good, not for the fact that our service has been shit and we need a reason to drop it all without making us look potate. And where was the other bit? Oh no, that was it. Yeah, and then the other bit was the a fact I saw yesterday. I mean, I didn't actually fact check this, so it could be wrong, but I saw a stat yesterday that 70% of Stadia's player base has dropped off in 3 months from launch. So if it's still at that figure, if 70% of the player base, it could be more than that if it's dropped off in 3 months from launch, but if 70% of the player base has dropped off, and they've stopped paying for the service, this could be a way to get them back into it, because they've already got this. Okay, this is my Stadia controller. This is sat there at the side. This is not actually. This is a Scuff controller, but I'm using it for metaphorical reasons. So this is my Stadia controller. It's sat there at the side, and I'm just not even bothered with it because it's pants. And what's even the point? There's nobody online and playing or whatever. But by putting it back in my hands and saying, do you know what? Actually, have 2 months on us. That might make me go on then. I'll pick it up and play. And suddenly, there's not just 100 people online anymore. There's 20,000 people online. Suddenly that would feel, okay, the loading times are rapid. I'm not just playing the same person over and over again. And it would start to add to it. So then people will then obviously start the positive word of mouth of, do you know what, it was on Stadia last night. It's pretty tasty. You should download it, get it. I mean, you got no to do anyway, because, we're all not going to the park anymore, because that's what we do all the time, obviously, me and Bib, just
we go to park all the time, play Pokemon Go.
Yeah, walk around in our matching t-shirts with our names on them, like Bibby's just sat up and showed. So, Bib.
I'm not going to go into it yet. The grand reveal later on.
So yeah, I want to say, do you know what? Fair play. It is something nice. Not everyone will have hardware to make use of the 4K stuff anyway. Very few people will, and it is nice that people can use something for free. But I can't help but feel this is them trying to drop the price whilst still saving face at the same time. Not that there's anything wrong with dropping the price. They need to. They've got a horrible launch that's always going to be tainted, but this will help to get rid of that taint. Well, something will help to get rid of that taint. Well, whether this is enough, I mean, yeah, that'll be nice to give people access for 2 months. That when we get to the end of the 2 months, if there's still no games and the price goes back up, nobody's going to pay for it. So it's a good.
It's the cheapest way of joining the ecosystem, though, isn't it? For them, like there's no better price than free, and at the moment it's free. So if you have always wondered about it, you've got the option now to be able to go and test it out for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's kind of it. Just about to chat again. Enix, yo. To be honest, Stadia should have released to everyone in January. Should have done. So they're already 3 months over, and at a time where everyone's internet is being throttled. The YMCA? What? What? I think someone check on ads players. I think he's had some sort of seizure in the chat, unless it was something that I've said and I don't remember. Anyway, Tito says it's the Amazon Prime model. You sign up, you don't opt out, and charge a large portion. Don't opt out, and a large portion will forget to cancel and continue being charged. It's so many. That's the subscription model that so many businesses thrive off.
Yeah.
So like obviously Netflix and any of your online content stuff. But I remember that changing. I used to work in digital marketing in a former life, and not in the role that I'm in now. And I remember watching like the industry change from sign up and buy a t-shirt from this website, and then you can buy the next one, and you can buy the next one, and then you started to get things where it's like, sign up and we'll send you a free t-shirt every month. And one of the innovators was Dollar Shave Club. Just spend $1 and we'll send you a new razor every month, and it's that allows you to forecast and budget going forward. And yeah, so many businesses work on that sort of way. The difference is Amazon Prime and Dollar Shave Club and Netflix, you are purchasing products that are tangible, that you can see, that you can watch, what are you going to do when you purchase Stadia Pro? When you see that $8.99 go out of your account, you're going to think, well, I have been fleeced, because I would not spend £9 on that.
And there is type bastards though that won't. They'll be sharing Netflix passwords and everything.
So yeah, it's good. It is good. It's not enough, and I'm not going to say that it's not enough now. In 2 months' time, it won't be enough, unless they inject a lot of content into that ecosystem, and that's what it is. It's a content ecosystem. Yes, you can play online. Yes, you've got 4K 60 FPS and a Pro, blah, 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 all that stuff. That becomes irrelevant when there's nothing to watch or nothing to play or nothing. Like the Dollar Shave Club, if I spend it's only $1. If I spend my $1 and I get a new razor, that's nice. And next month the razor's just oh, it's just the same razor. Not like it's the same model, but it's actually the exact same razor. You put it in the bin, we fished it back out and gave it to you again. It's like I've had this. I don't. It's no use to me anymore. And that's where Stadia is.
Yeah.
In 2 months' time, no one's going to spend that £9 because they've done everything there is to do on Stadia. So yeah, fair play. I'm massively on board with Stadia adding more and looking great and giving us the ability to play on smartphones and PCs and all the rest, just like xCloud is. But they need to add more, and the time is running out because xCloud gets stronger and stronger every day. And no doubt Stadia is behind the scenes, but the issue with it is, do we ever really know what's going on behind the scenes?
No.
Not until Grace pops up on the Stadia subreddit and goes, "Oh yeah, we have been doing things. Look at all the things that we've spoken about." No, Grace, the only things you've spoken about is that you've got nothing to speak about. That's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Beans with the host. How the devil are you, sir? How's the video editing coming along? I was just lurking in Beans' stream before we went live.
So was I.
Was
I
you?
was watching him play The Witcher. Yeah, I've had it on this afternoon. I realised, well, he meant like a bit in that he was recording for YouTube. I was like, the ignorant bastard, not replying to any of the messages being put in there. And he went, right, I need to fast travel somewhere now, so if anything doesn't kick off, I'll meet you there. And he went, hi, baby, yeah, I'm recording for YouTube. I was like, got you. So I just sat there and just didn't bother saying anything else, just watched it. But I was like, for fuck's sake.
Exclamation mark YT in Beans' chat. He did it to me. He absolutely hit me with that straight away. I turned my PC on, and whilst my PC was on, I thought, oh, I've got a few micro coins left over. I'll see if I can get Michael Van Basten in Pez. Spent my like 1k coins left or whatever, and didn't get him at all. But I was like, I opened up Beans on the side stream, so I was like, hey, and then I realised, actually, if he says that to me, I can't hear him. So I was like, I can't hear you, so you'll have to mind my response, but didn't think about him recording for YouTube. So Beans just kind of, I saw him like playing the game away, and then saw him like look at the Twitch chat, read my comment of like, I can't hear you, so I'll have to mind your response. And he just went, looked at the camera and went, double thumbs up, as in like, yeah, I got you. Exclamation mark YT, aka fuck off, Graham. I meant a comment after that. Felt like I did. What a bit. I made a comment. After that. Okay. Well, nice to know that my presence in your chat makes you feel strongly enough that you need to tell people that you want to speak to them. Cheers, Beans. Thanks very much for that.
I mean, yeah, super uncomfortable springs to mind, but
fuck this shit, I'm out. Speaking of that, by the way, feel free to check out Beans TV in the chat. Do you know what? One thing we don't have that we do need to set up is, I'm going to type it. It's not going to happen because I know it's not there, but like we need to do like a shout out command, because so many people have the shout out commands, which just makes it nice and accessible to get people's channels, and we just don't have that set up. So that's one thing we need to add to our chat box. Yeah, boy. But yes, I can't shout him out, but Beans, click on his name. Feel free to check out. He's been playing The Witcher, so if you want to see that, I think he's like, was that episode 8 you've just recorded today? So if you want to play through The Witcher 3 without playing through it, then check out Beans TV. Check it out. Anyway, from one service to another. So let's talk about something else that's not Nintendo Switch. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about something that's not Stadia. So we will talk about Nintendo Switch, as this article written by Emma Kent for Eurogamer says, as Nintendo Switch sells out worldwide, third-party sellers list it for nearly double. Joy-Conned. What a tagline. So a seller is selling something made by Nintendo for nearly double the price. Are we talking about game?
Yeah, that's it. Is this? Well, yeah. Is it the
Ring Fit Adventure?
Ring Fit Adventure, bastards.
Anyway, the Nintendo Switch was already experiencing some stock problems at the beginning of the year, but things have only worsened since the coronavirus outbreak forced millions to stay at home, and now it's practically impossible to find the console online. Well, without paying nearly double the original price. A quick browse of the official Nintendo UK store, Game, Currys PC World, and Argos shows nearly every version of the console is out of stock, aside from one grey version on Argos and limited stock of the Nintendo Switch Lite. The situation appears to be similar on eBay too, where most official retailers are out of stock and the only remaining listings are second-hand. According to a retailer speaking to GamesIndustry.biz, the reason the Lite has not yet sold out is because customers are after something to play on the TV with their kids. Instead, many are apparently opting for the PS4 or Xbox One, although stock is also in short supply for these consoles too. The shortage appears to be providing a golden opportunity for resellers, many of whom are currently listing the Nintendo Switch for nearly double the price or more. On Amazon, the lowest listed price for a standard Nintendo Switch is currently shifting between £525 and £555.53, while £479 is the lowest for the grey version of the console. The highly popular Animal Crossing edition of the Switch, meanwhile, can be found for £689 at the very cheapest.
Christ.
For context, the standard price of the Nintendo Switch on the official UK store is usually £279, while the Animal Crossing edition is £319. So, Animal Crossing is usually £319, it's now £689. So it's worth noting that even before social distancing became the norm in the UK, supplies of the Nintendo Switch were inconsistent, but the coronavirus pandemic has made the situation far worse. Game apparently stocked several Switch bundles yesterday before supplies almost instantly sold out, and the website seemingly experienced some issues from the sheer demand. Stocks of fitness game Ring Fit Adventure have met a similar fate, having been sold out for several weeks before briefly reappearing on the game's website last week. Emphasis on the briefly. I'll skip past the embedded tweet there. Eurogamer has contacted Nintendo. There we go. So again, Eurogamer has contacted Nintendo to find out when customers can expect stocks to return to UK stores. Hopefully, the answer will be similar to that provided by a spokesperson for Nintendo of America, who told GamesIndustry.biz that more systems are on the way for North America.
Mental.
680 quid, 690 quid for a £320 console is filthy. As Beans says, and for those of you that have never watched Beans' streams, Beans is quite a poetic person. He speaks like with a tone that echoes like Socrates or Aristotle. So brace yourselves for this. Bastards. Some people will do anything to make pounds. There we go. That's pretty much it. That's, you know what, Socrates or Aristotle couldn't have put it better than that. They are bastards. That's what it is. Simple bastards. Jon Snow. It's the horrible nature of capitalist people comes out when the chips are down. When people are in need, people always make profit. It's as simple as that. It's horrible, but that's capitalism, and that's exactly what is happening. The Nintendo Switch is just another thing where that's happening. I mean, we've seen it in the past few weeks with hand sanitizer and things like that. The Switch is just doing the same.
Yeah, the whole supply and demand thing is of all the things for them to try and boost up the console. I mean, fair enough. You've got people like Game who only sell games. They're obviously going to do it with the sub, but 300 quid on top of the original. Like, it wasn't long ago you could pick one up for 200 if it was, but tacking another 300 quid on because they're the only couple that you've got left.
We've
King.
I'm gonna see if we've got anything kicked to life because Bibby's just kind of like turned into C3PO.
Oh God, not again.
It seems to Bibby, okay? God, say something. Give us the alphabet, Bibby. A B C D.
A B C D E F P.
It seems like you're okay now. Sorry, what were you saying then? Do you want to repeat that point again then?
Yes, I was just saying that you could probably pick one of these up for like 279 quid a couple of months ago, and now they're just tacking another 300 quid on top of the price. I hate the supply and demand thing. I'm actually going to go on hot UK deals now on my phone because I know that you can set up reminders if you are looking for a Nintendo Switch, and you can set up reminders on things like that so that when they come back into stock or someone finds them, you usually put them onto a website like that so you're able to pick it up. Nintendo Switch. Has it gone again?
It's like Twitch knows Bibba's going to drop some truth and is trying to silence him. # free Bibba.
Well, game have got Nintendo Switch Neon, improved battery, so it's the new version of the Switch, not the Lite, just the newer version. Animal Crossing, for 329 quid, which I don't think's a bad price at all.
Who's that?
Game apparently.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting why, unless they've just had a bit of a jolt in stock.
Oh, this was 2 minutes ago. Oh, all of them are now out of stock. This was Jesus Christ.
Plus
That's what I mean.
£150 delivery.
This was posted 5 minutes ago, and the comment 2 minutes ago. Good luck. Are now out of stock. Are now out of stock.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for a Nintendo Switch, I suggest you go onto the website or get the app for Hot UK deals and just set a notification so that when someone puts them on there, you've got half a chance because it looks like you ain't going to get one anytime soon. And I actually thought that was a good price, 330 quid.
So the two embedded tweets that I skipped past in the article is a tweet from Andy FF94 on Twitter says, Internet, Game UK has stocked Nintendo Switches. Game UK website says, we're sorry that Game.co.uk is currently unavailable. Next tweet from Bandit Brown 98 says, went to buy a Switch, has got a notification that Game Digital had them back in stock. Put it in my basket, then got this when I tried to check out. I just want to play Animal Crossing for my birthday. Exactly the same notification again. We're sorry that Game.co.uk is currently unavailable. So yeah, long story short, on trying to purchase things online it's just not going to happen when it's in demand. I'm seeing that at the moment. I've mentioned it a few times this week talking about hair clippers. I pretty much am resigned to the fact that I am going to look like an old school microphone, like full on round head by the end of it, because that's where everything's going. Trying to look at any sort of clippers online now, they're all just they're all gone, apart from the ones that you wouldn't shave your enemy's head with, because it'd just be like pulling the hairs out one by one. Yeah. Might sell my Switch with the 26 games I have. I shaved all mine off today, Graham. Proof, tweet it at Ice Cream Uploads. We want to see the Chrome Dome. We need to see it. Do it.
Yeah, I'm still impressed with what Samantha did with my head. She's managed to keep most of my hair. I was expecting to lose a lot, but she's done a very good job.
Well, I've got like, it's the not this side, but this side. Like my fringe usually gets kind of pushed over, but then on this side, I'm starting to develop like a Superman curl. So yeah, it's the curl that I need to get rid of that. You can only blend it into your hair for so long before it starts to flop out. So,
that's it. I just said to Samantha, like, I'll cut my own fringe. Don't touch that. I'll do that myself. The rest of it, do whatever you want. I just want one on the side, and then do whatever you can on top. This is a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see the words that's on the back of the head though. So.
Told you, mate. I got a Nike tick.
Just backwards, like you've done it in the mirror.
Hike.
What's Mike? Mike. Everyone without clippers are gonna look like early 2000s emos. I'm on my way.
Big fan of that.
Enix says he can't tweet a picture of himself because he's got fanboys hunting him out.
Oh, for God's sake! He loves staring that part, doesn't he? He fucking loves staring that part.
Anyway,
not a fanboy, but. And then there's a fanboy comment.
Next story. Let's jump into the news. We're rolling ahead because the last show was about an hour and 40 minutes long. It's a little bit longer than the hour that we usually aim for. So moving forward into the next bit of news, which should be on screen now. There we go. CD Projekt says Cyberpunk 2077 is still on track to hit its launch date. Written by Alistair Jones for Kotaku UK. This article says, once upon a time, today would have been only 1 week out from the release of Cyberpunk 2077. Alas, CD Projekt Red was forced to delay its upcoming RPG to September, forcing an added wait of around 5 months. But the studio is adamant that despite difficulties created by coronavirus, it will still meet that new release date. During the company's latest financial report, CEO Adam Kaczynski said that our goals haven't changed. First and foremost, we intend to release Cyberpunk 2077 in September. We feel motivated and have the necessary tools at our disposal to meet this goal. We also believe that our long-standing strategy of avoiding debt and accumulating cash reserves makes us well prepared to meet any hardships which may be in store during these troubled times. Like many other studios around the world, CD Projekt has moved to a remote development strategy. Quite the challenge for a studio of several hundred people. Other major titles due out during the spring have been significantly disrupted by the outbreak. Physical copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake began shipping 10 days ahead of launch date, granting some players a significant head start over others, while The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed indefinitely due to the logistical challenge of shipping retail copies of the game. Cyberpunk has an extra few months to address those challenges, but I imagine that they could be forced to reassess the likelihood of a September launch if the pandemic continues through the summer. So, Nintendo Switch, Final Fantasy VII, The Last of Us, they're all showing signs of COVID affecting business in one way or the other. And some of them you can't get, some of them are unavailable, and some of them are available, but only if you spend like 120% of the original value on top of the cost. So, yeah. What do you reckon, babe? Do you think come September we will all be sat playing Cyberpunk?
I don't think any game is safe at this moment in time. If the games like The Last of Us was delayed, Final Fantasy is still yet to actually officially come out. I'm sure it's tomorrow, the official date for it to come out. But people have been having it over the last week or so because video game companies or distributors haven't been able to get into the premises to send them out. So they've been sending them out like 2 weeks beforehand. It just shows that no game is safe at the moment. Do I think that we'll be getting this on the day that we're probably going to should be playing it? As it stands, yes, but I think in 3 weeks' time I'll have probably a different opinion because a lot could change in days, never mind weeks. So it's
and he's gone. Oh, we got a boop. Boop.
we keep distributing.
Oh, he's back again. He's back again. There we go.
Oh,
you kind of RoboBibs. It was fine for a good chunk of time, and then it kind of froze, and we just did a beep, and then it kind of paused until the end, and then it all kind of spaffed out in like 0.5 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where I actually got up to with that.
The gist of what we got was no game is safe. You think we're okay, but a few more weeks you could change that angle completely.
Yeah, I think the game isn't out until September, which is 5 months away. Take away 2 months for going gold and distribution, so 6 to 8 weeks. That leaves 3 months for things to change. As it stands, I think we will get it in September. I think we'll still be able to play it. I think in a month's time, though, we could possibly revisit this and have a better idea about what the crack is. I do think we're personally going to be in isolation until at least the end of May, which is a month and a half away, nearly 6. Well, it's over 6 weeks. So yes, 6 weeks at home is a long time. These distribution centres aren't going to be open during that time, especially in the UK anyway. So yeah, maybe in a month's time, 6 weeks, we'll have a better idea as to whether or not we're actually going to be getting this on release.
Yeah, I think you kind of
tough thing to call at this moment in time.
I think you kind of saying exactly the kind of line I would say. 5 months on top of their predicted release cycle means that I would imagine, have overestimated the amount of time that they need. So essentially, the game was almost ready to launch next week. But they've said, actually, do you know what? We're going to give ourselves some time. We don't want to push our employees into a crunch setup. We want to give ourselves a little bit more time to produce it. We want to push back closer to the cross generation launch as well. So launching in September allows them to maximize the install base for the current gen and then also be fresh enough for people to pick it up on the next gen. So yeah, with that in mind, I think they've probably had a big buffer in there in terms of they probably didn't need to push back 5 months. I mean, they could have done, but I would imagine they've given themselves that little bit of safety net so that they can go, okay, we'll just push back 3 months and then we'll add the extra 2 months on because, you know, it's nice and safe. So as all predictions are kind of saying that we'll be back on our way to a normal world in 4 to 8 weeks. Somewhere in there, we'll not that everything will be fine, but we'll be on our way to it, at least by then. So with that in mind, the production lines could be starting to run a bit faster, a bit smoother. That's already starting to happen anyway, apparently. So yeah, at this point in time, I'd agree. I'd say it looks like, yeah, they should be fine, but yeah, we'll know more in a few more weeks' time. But if they're still saying that, signs are pointing to all logistics and stuff being sorted so that we can have physical and digital versions going at the same time. I think if that, it's probably logical for them to have that. Obviously, whether that conversation changes or not in the next month or so, then yeah, we'll know about them then. Couldn't they make it entirely digital, says Beans? Ish. They could. The issues you get with that, and this is something we touched on the other day, is that video games retailers, it's kind of a very insecure business. That's not the word I want, but that's the word I'll go with. So in terms of video game retail, it's kind of teetering on the edge. Or MFG, I just spam one agent and call it fuck you. It's got brutal.
Nice.
So yeah, video games retail is kind of teetering on the edge at the moment right now in terms of it's not the most secure business, and video games retail will be massively, I'm talking physical retail by the way, will be massively impacted by the fact that if digital has a free run at Cyberpunk, a lot of people want to play games right now. So I'll spend 20 quid extra to get it digital if I get it now, but don't have to wait 4 weeks. So if they take that away, then video games stores will, all their forecasts for profits and number of sales will drop. That means that video game forecasts would be, they'd say, okay, we expected to sell 100,000 copies, we're now going to sell 40,000 copies. So we're not taking the extra 60,000 that will guarantee sell through, which then that impacts on the amount of point of sale, the amount of marketing, and there's all sorts of other things in a retail campaign, that all of that. So not only The Last of Us, one of the things that they said is that they wanted to put the game in everyone's hands at the same time. They didn't want to allow people that had the facility to play digitally versus physically. They didn't want them to be able to play it first. So that's one side of it, but the other side of it is it has huge impacts on the whole retail chain side of things. So yeah, by pushing it back, they avoid that as well. They keep in good relationships with their retail partners and the stores that are accounting for a decent amount of sales. Yes, most sales are digitally, but it's still quite a big area in terms of definitely for word of mouth and marketing. I look like an Ed had my quiff for 20 years. Do you know? It's funny you say that.
I've just looked at the picture.
Exception.
To be fair though, mate, you actually look like you've lost a load of weight as well, which is, I don't want to say that's great because that's not for me to judge, but you look good. Bar in the air, obviously.
So this is a regular site on Salford Precinct. Oh, get out, mate! What? You want some? Eh?
Have you seen this man?
Eh? It's Bibby. Pass me the ball. Yeah. 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 Can in the background. He's like Ken Carlsberg on the shelf.
Get the tinnies out.
Now you've done a good job with that cut. To be fair, GG. My head's not built to be that. I just look like a
same.
Yeah, I don't even know what I look like.
I think I know. Did you ever see Coneheads? That's exactly what I think my head would be like.
I've got a meaty head, like I said. I look like. Do you know when you see those memes of like people where the face gets squashed like really small into the middle of it? I mean, my head probably doesn't look like that, but that's what I whenever I see a picture of me as a kid with my head like looking daft, I think, yeah, that's what I look like. Tiny little mini-faced dude with a big egghead. So yeah, it's not for me, Jeff. It's not for me. You look like you actually do fit in Salford. That's it. If I shave it all off, I would fit in Salford Precinct. Oh, all right, yeah. I don't know why they're all cockneys in Salford Precinct, but that's just the way it is.
My fat bastard watch is telling me to do exercise. Not now.
Stand up, sit down. No, thank you. Going back to the article. So there we go. CD Projekt Red says that Cyberpunk is still on track to hit its launch date. I mean, I hope that's the case. Not for CD Projekt Red and not for the fact that I want to play the game sooner rather than later. I hope it sticks to that launch date because that will be a sign that COVID can get the fuck out of here and we can all walk without like those awkward situations. It's absolutely 100% not personal at all. But me and Danielle went for our government approved one walk of the day yesterday, and there was a couple walking like down the street. We were walking up the street, and some woman had like one of those masks on, a surgical mask kind of thing, around her neck. But as they approached us and got near us, she looked at us and then put a mask on, which is that's what it's for. That's what it's for. But it's so weird. It's almost the social interactions of just being a bit rude. It's like it kind of goes against that in terms of, oh, I've seen you, you've got the germs, I'm going to put the mask on my face. And it's like, it's not at all, but it's so weird. And seeing things like buying something in a shop and watching like the cashier put it on the desk and then step back as in like, get away from me, Captain Lurgy. So yeah, if CD Projekt Red launch a Cyberpunk 2077 on time, then that's probably a sign that we're going to be past all of that weird bullshit that we're in right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's take that. Cyberpunk will be awesome, hopefully, says Enix. I wonder if they will feature a ton of RT? Retweet? Retweet? I don't know what RT is. Retail therapy? I don't know. Ray tracing. See, I only ever know of RT as RTX because of obviously the graphic cards. But yeah, RT just... Whenever I see RT like that in caps, I just instantly think of old school quote retweets. They've shown Control with some of it and it looked amazing with ray tracing. Yeah, Control. I've not played Control. Too much into Twitter. No, it's too much of being an old man. You can quote tweet with a button now. Back in the day, you used to quote tweet by copying the tweet, typing RT : and then putting your message before that. So yeah, that's old school. That's old man Twitter before Twitter became user friendly. But anyway, let's jump into our next story. And from sales and from games being available. And I think selling pretty well in UK retail. Not so much the Nintendo Switches, but boxed games are doing pretty well right now, according to this article written by Christopher Dring for GamesIndustry.biz. Over 1 million boxed games were sold in the UK in 3 weeks, but Resident Evil 3 disappoints in general. Oh no, in latest charts. Sorry, is what it says. Not in general. You know. Just yeah.
Oh, you made me upset.
Sorry, you can't see Bibby. He's literally like raging on screen right now. Bibby, put it down. No. Anyway, the number of physical video games sold in the UK has increased despite a nationwide lockdown that has seen most high street games retailers closed. Over 350,000 games were sold last week, a rise of 3% week on week. And we're keeping Bibby awake. All right, mate. You all right?
Mate, I'm knackered. Them rounds of golf taken out of me.
You want to stay up playing WoS until 1 p.m. 1 a.m. That's the one. Stay up till 1 p.m. God damn. That means more than 1 million physical games have been sold in the UK over the last 3 weeks. Prior to any lockdown or social distancing measures, game sales were tracking at around 150,000 units a week, rather than 350,000 that was sold last week. So despite the result, the big new release of the week did underperform compared to its predecessor. Resident Evil 3 sold fewer than half the number of units last year's Resident Evil 2. Of course, with so many stores closed and people told to stay at home, it's entirely possible that the game performed much better as a download. Digital download data is not available, which I absolutely think that will have done. I think the fact that it's sold less than half is kind of irrelevant, but let's keep moving anyway. The other new release of the week was the PlayStation 4 exclusive Persona 4 Royal, which makes number 5. Games bundled with the PS4 and Xbox One hardware continues to perform well due to another strong week of sales of game consoles over the past week. Titles such as Uncharted 4, Horizon Zero Dawn, Forza Horizon 4, Sea of Thieves, and The Last of Us Remastered continue to have a presence in the top 20. The same cannot be said for Nintendo Switch games, with standard Switch hardware almost entirely sold out. Games such as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe have fallen sharply down the charts. Mario Kart 8 is currently down at number 25, the first time it has fallen out over the top 20 in over 3 years. Meanwhile, the big new Switch game Animal Crossing New Horizon falls to number 4 with a 35% drop in sales week on week. Here is the GFK top 10 for the week ending April the 4th. I'll leave that on screen for a few minutes while we chat as opposed to calling through it. I'll just go through the top 3 though. Number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Number 2, Resident Evil 3, which is a new entry. And number 3, FIFA 20, which has dropped down a place after Resident Evil usurped it.
Oh, Grand Theft Auto's still there though, isn't it?
Always. It's an ever-present. And my like the one that kind of gets me is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is back in the top 10 despite being 15th last week. So interesting. What are your thoughts, babe?
I think I don't think Nintendo shot themselves in the foot, but they needed to kind of pull the fingers out a little bit with the fact that their games are not playable anywhere at the moment. They are playable. They just can't get hold of them. Like they're saying that this dropped. Mario Kart 8 is currently down to 25th for the first time. It has fallen out the top 20 in over 3 years. The reason for that is that no one can pick it up unless they want to buy it digitally. But they don't count digital hardware sales anyway, as far as I remember. They only count physical ones. So if they can't buy it physically, of course it's going to drop out the charts. But at this moment in time, with Nintendo Switches being sold out absolutely everywhere, no one can get a hold of them. Your top line is going to be affected.
Yeah, that's an incorrect balance of supply and demand. So supply and demand, you want to keep the demand higher than your supply. It's basic business principles. If you've got a limited supply and there's a huge demand for it, you will profit. You can make quite a good profit margin. As we've seen, I want to say quite a good from a business standpoint, not an ethical standpoint, as we've seen already with Nintendo Switches. We've seen the Animal Crossing Switch being priced at £689 for a £319 console. So a stupid amount of markup there, but that's supply and demand. There isn't any, so people will charge stupid amount of money because people want them, people need them, and that family that are looking for something to do, that are looking for games to play, that want the Animal Crossing New Horizon, or whatever it's called, version of the Switch, might go, okay, well, there you go, this one's got it in stock at 600 quid. They might not even realise that it shouldn't be 600 quid and will purchase it. That's supply and demand. Or it could just be a case of someone really wants it and they don't want to have to wait because it's been hard enough being stuck inside for this last month or so, so they just want something to take their mind off as a family and they'll purchase it. Supply and demand, that's good for them. However, for the first party manufacturers, the supply and demand, seeing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe being one of the best selling games ever because it's bundled with pretty much every Switch. If you can't buy Switches, you can't get the games. If you can't get the games, you're not getting additional sales. So that is, I want to say, poor supply and demand. It's probably not fair to lump that blame on Nintendo because obviously consoles are manufactured predominantly in China, which was obviously the biggest hit for the first stage of COVID-19. So obviously, you fast forward now, all supplies and stuff are being exhausted, and other areas of the world, not only are supplies being exhausted, but the areas of the world where people will purchase those are now being hit by COVID-19. So it's not necessarily fair to say, it's not fair for me to say that they haven't planned correctly because you can't plan for this. However, it shows you the importance of supply and demand. And it's always kind of been the way with Nintendo stuff. I don't know. Maybe they just don't ever expect Switch to be as big and as successful it is. Maybe they think, oh, we'll just make a few more because we're no one else is gonna buy it, and then boom, everyone buys it, and it's like, okay, we'll just make just a few Ring Fit Adventures because it's naff. It's just a wobbly steering wheel. No one's gonna buy it. Boom! They've all gone. It's like, fuck. So some guy at Nintendo's just going, okay, just make 2 or 3, just 2 or 3. It'll be fine. Like conservative guy, and then everything's going. I mean, in a real world without COVID, that's really good. That's what Nintendo are almost copying the Disney mindset. Disney have something called the Vault. I think we've spoken about this before actually. Disney have something called the Vault, and they will have. I mean, it's a little different now. Disney Plus is out, but they used to say, okay, we have, say there's 40 Disney films, there's probably more, but we will release 6 this year from the Vault. You will be able to buy Beauty and the Beast, Basil the Great Mouse Detective, which is a class film, by the way, and 4 other Disney films in your local supermarkets. At the end of the year, we will put them back in the vault and they will be shut away for 10 years while we bring out the next 6 films the year after and the next 6 films the year after. And that's how they keep the sales up. That's how they keep generating profit on these things, because people will have it on DVD and then 10 years will pass and then they'll release it in digital and 10 years will pass and so on. And by keeping the supply down, by making sure it's not always available, the supply is lower so it matches the demand, so you can keep selling the copies of the game. And Nintendo have been kind of working that way, whether it's luck or like actual reasoned marketing or not, I'm not sure, but I would say it's more in line with luck, because if it was reasoned marketing, they'd just go, okay, all the extra supplies that we've got, let's shoot them out into the market now, but there isn't any. So yeah, it seems like Nintendo, because of the success of the Switch, just can't keep up with the demand.
No, I mean that even goes for the video games as well. Not to mention the fact that they are being maybe built. Well, they are being built elsewhere. They literally can't print the cartridges fast enough to get them out everywhere else. Not that you should be going down to your local video game store anyway to buy games, but I don't even think places like Amazon are being given the stock to be able to send out in the post to people.
I know Amazon originally did say, and this was when we were still in the office, because I remember having a conversation in the office. Amazon said that they aren't going to take any deliveries to their warehouses for items that weren't essential. And this was before all of the high street stores and things are closed. So they may have changed their stance on that since then, but it was a case of groceries, medicines and other essential items we will take into our warehouse so we can distribute them, but other things we won't take them in. So they wouldn't have been taking TVs and consoles and things like that because it's not an essential purchase from that sense. So yeah, it could be a case of that's the reason why Amazon is down as well, because they're going, nope, we don't want any additional deliveries, because every packaging, every delivery comes in is another potential touch point for COVID spread and so on. So yeah, that could be a bit of it. But anyway, let's move on. We've got one final news story to run through, which has been submitted by one of our viewers. And for those of you that don't know what it looks like, let me bring this back on stream. Yeah? You want to see my article? Yeah? 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 Yeah. So sorry, I apologise. I just had to do that. Sorry, Jordan. So we do have one more news article. Now I've stopped being a nipple. I will bring this back up on screen. Thank you very much for getting involved, Jordan. And also thank you very much for being here and allowing me to take the mick out of you. It's very, very much appreciated. We do love you, really. There we go. This page has been translated as well, so bear with the translation. It may not be perfect. I haven't actually read through this.
I have. It seems to be okay translation-wise.
Okay. So Shinobi, who I believe is a renowned leaker, is that the case? It's someone that has a reputed leaker, so someone that has had leaked information before and has had that come to fruition. I believe that is the case. If I'm wrong, please feel free to let me know in the chat, especially Jordan. As soon as you share this, you'll be able to say if I'm saying anything wrong. But anyway, Shinobi is excited by the games coming to the Xbox Series X. So there we go. Enix, for a bit of context, says Shinobi is one of the biggest reputable leakers in the industry. Although it does seem like a little bit of an oxymoron, being a reputable leaker. So he's quite reputed for being a bad person. But yes, anyway. Shinobi is excited by the games coming to the Xbox Series X. This is written by Andrea Riviera for Game Division. So after seeing the hardware and the technical specifications of the Xbox Series X, now what we are looking forward to most clearly are the video games. The exclusive, all those titles capable of making us stand up and push us to buy one platform rather than the other. There is not much information about it apart from some rare corridor items which, however, are difficult to confirm. Consequently, it is necessary to wait for the notorious digital Xbox event that would replace E3 and that would give an idea on the games arriving at least on Xbox Series X. So obviously, not quite flawless English, but you get the point. Essentially, we're waiting for the Xbox digital event that is in place of their E3 showcase so we can see what their big titles are, the reasons for purchasing an Xbox over a PlayStation. So recently on the popular Reset Era forum, the well-known insider Shinobi has revealed that we won't have to wait much longer for the Xbox event, suggesting that between April and May it could take place. It's always fair to point out that despite being a corridor voice, Shinobi has been within the gaming sector for years and is one of the most reliable insiders that can exist together with Clobril, which is why what he says can be taken truthfully without too many doubts. Obviously, I think that's kind of a way of saying he has very good insight and his leaks are usually on point, but obviously always take it with a pinch of salt. So there is an embedded link, this was from Reset Era, which Jordan sent through to me earlier on. And I'll read this first. So Veeps on Reset Era says, I'll ask, Shinobi, can you give us anything? Anything? A hint? A description? A GIF? anything. God, I'm so thirsty for news, and this quarantine isn't helping. To which Shinobi replied, "It's not my place to give details, and my username would be plastered on sites come morning if I did. Lol. So I won't, but you won't have to wait too much longer, really. I'm incredibly excited at what's coming from Xbox. Gorgeous fantasy worlds, reboots, big sci-fi. Should be a lot of fun." So it's not my place to give details. Don't give details, but it says quite a bit there without saying anything. So
Imagine having that caliber of information that people wait on your hand and foot, and he knows full well that if he was to say anything, very much like what we're doing now, people were picking it up in news articles going forward.
yeah, exactly. That. I'll jump into the arc first. Finish. We've got a couple of paragraphs left. So obviously, Shinobi has said that he does not want to reveal a lot, but he's really excited by the presentation setup. That Xbox will see the announcement of numerous titles with a large variety of genres, including fantasy worlds, reboots, and large sci-fi universes. We tried to imagine the game Shinobi is referring to, and our thoughts turned to Fable, Perfect Dark, Halo, the new IP of Obsidian, and Hellblade 2. In short, it seems that in this generation we will have to play even on Xbox. that sounds like a backhanded compliment, that bit, because of the translation. All that remains is to understand when this event will take place, or at least when it will be announced. What do you expect from the titles to be announced? Let us know in the comments and tell us your opinions on it. Maybe give us some examples on IPs that you'd like to see on the Series X. I'm just going to read that sentence again. All that remains to understand is when this event will take place. No, it was the one before that, actually. In short, it seems that this generation we will have to play even on Xbox. It almost sounds like, God, I mean, I don't want to play on Xbox, but if they're going to have these really good games, then we'll have to give it a go. But yes, Shinobi, one of the most reputable leaguers. Reputable leaguers? Reputable leaguers. One of the most reputable leakers in the industry, which sounds like an absolute clippage comment right there. He's a reputable leaker. Apparently says big things coming. Gorgeous fantasy worlds, reboots, and big sci-fi. They're kind of the things that he was throwing out without going into detail in the article. Asim in the chat says, probably not, but the original Mass Effect and 2, I think, were Xbox 360 exclusives. Maybe? Shrugs. Interesting. And once again, pretty much Socrates mixed with Aristotle. Beans in the chat says, this is where I need the voice mod programmed so I can just get like an echo ready so that the comments can just echo through time as Beans says, screw Xbox. So there we go. It's interesting that we've got Enix and Beans side by side in the chat. See, that's it, a balanced audience here on Ice Cream Uploads. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we have...
I haven't actually got much to say about this one, because again, it comes from a source that, I never even knew who this guy was until I got it sent to me by Jordan earlier on. I mean, I would love to see a new Fable game. I've got all 3 of them. Fantastic games. A new Halo is already on its way anyway, so that's not really new news. A Perfect Dark game, I don't think has been a Perfect Dark hasn't been relevant for the last probably 20 years. So yeah, we'll see where this one goes with them.
See, yeah. Do I ever get excited at a leaker giving me information? Not really, no. This is kind of the same thing that I was saying the other day with Aesthetic Gamer or Dusk Golem or Shinobi 062, as he's called on that forum. I don't care when it comes from a leaker. I mean, like I say, it's my job to comment on it when it's out in the public domain, because that is journalism. Journalism is exactly that. You are supposed to create a running journal of everything that is happening in the public domain. Sometimes it involves covering things that shouldn't be out in the public domain. Just because it's there and you have to cover it doesn't mean that it's right that it is there. So people like Shinobi and Dusk Golem and so on, yes, they help us in providing us content, and yes, we can get clickbaity shows like this off of it. However, I'm not a fan of them because it doesn't come from a good place. It comes from self-benefit as opposed to the benefit of the brand of the community. The community want to know, and by having this detail and sharing it in a way that it shouldn't be shared, damages the brand and therefore doesn't service the community that he's trying to service when he shares that. He's not trying to service that community. He's trying to service his reputation. That's what he's trying to do. However, quite often they can have a lot of validity to them. Sometimes it's just common sense that people have put in. Quite often you can have a knowledge of the industry, and I bet Asim will be really good at this. I bet if you asked Asim to make, let's say he created an account called Tassim Anvia rather than Asim Tanvia, obviously, you know, and he was like some sort of industry insider. I bet he could make logical judgments on so many upcoming games just by looking at previous release cycles, understanding how the industry works from the inside. Quite often, a lot of stuff, and this is what I said a minute ago, is common sense, but you just package it in a way that people go, oh, yeah, I suppose that's that. But you take it, you take away that it's based on Tassim Anvia. That's it. So, quick, babes, get that count made up now. Take it before someone else does. So yeah, a lot of it is just recycling previous marketing plans. This has worked, so we'll do it again. This is the release cycle. This is our development timelines and things like that. You can often see logic. It's tried and tested. They'll do it again. So quite often, I reckon these counts, yes, some of them will have inside knowledge, and when they talk details, they obviously will have. But a lot of the time, it's just hedging your bets based on previously tried, tested, common sense methods. So do I care about these accounts? No. Do they have good news? Yes, probably sometimes. Saying
will get people more than anything, though, won't they?
But like gorgeous fantasy worlds, reboots, and big sci-fi, that could be anything. A gorgeous fantasy world. Well, PUBG, when you play that in 4K on PC, is a fantasy world, and sometimes it can look gorgeous. That could also be. It could be Resident Evil. That's a fantasy world, and the Resi engine looks amazing. So that could be a gorgeous fantasy. Every video game that you play that looks nice is a gorgeous fantasy world. A reboot, that could be Resident Evil. I mean, it's a remake, I suppose. So there's all sorts of things that could be applied to. Big sci-fi. I mean, anything. But don't start me on PUBG Fantasy. Do you know what? It was actually fairly fun. I mean, I only played it for about 2 hours and it pissed me right off, but it was actually very fun, the fantasy PUBG stuff. Anyway, yeah, big sci-fi could be anything, so that's not saying anything. I mean, Tassim Anvia would absolutely nail that if it just threw out gorgeous fantasy words, reboots, and big sci-fi. Okay, I'm going to say games that involve players. Games that involve moving and static elements and potentially audible sounds. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be there. You're just rephrasing it. So yeah, it probably does have stuff, but I'm not. It doesn't float my boat. It's not saying anything to me.
No, I agree.
That said, it probably does have something. And if he's a leaker, if he's a renowned leaker, why does he not want his name to be all over? My name would be plastered on sites come morning if I did. If that's his thing, why would he not want his name on the website? So it's pretty generic. Shinobi is a known insider, probably a decent guy, but he knows what he's doing for the, let's say, hype numbers. Yeah, I mean, if he has this information, why is he not throwing it out? Why is he blatantly teasing? Oh, I can't tell you about stuff, but do you know the stuff that I'm not telling you about? Do you know it's actually about fantasy worlds and reboots and big sci-fi? But I didn't say anything. It's the drip feeding, the keeping people. I'm just gonna throw you a little bit and reel you in, so I can throw you back out and get a bigger one. And he's playing a marketing game in that sort of sense. Could be a really good guy. Could have all sorts of logic. But if he has this information, why is he sharing it and not sharing it? I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I like to know news from the games industry, but I like, obviously, working within the games industry and not just being a consumer. Most consumers want the news now. Obviously. I want to know about the stuff that I want to know about. This logic. But working in the industry, it's more damaging than it is useful. So I'm never excited by stuff like that. But you never know. The bit that I will take away from it, though, forgetting the gorgeous fantasy world reboots, big sci-fi, I'm interested in the fact that there could be an Xbox conference in April or May. Okay, that
wets the whistle.
Yeah, that's the bit for me. Where was the actual wording? There we go. recently on the popular reset era forum, the well-known insider Shinobi has revealed that we won't have to wait too much long for the Xbox event, suggesting that between April and May it could take place. I'd like that. I would like that because, it'd be nice to get something big and meaty right now. That's what she said. To distract from everything else. We just had a PlayStation controller. It'd be nice to follow it with an Xbox conference. Even having a date to look forward to now would be quite nice. So yes, I will take that as a positive. I will also take it with a pinch because it's not come from Xbox. But yeah, it'd be nice. Just be aware that we also took with a pinch that PlayStation could have been having their full product announcement in February, and we're now in April, so take it with a pinch. It might not happen. I look forward to watching the digital conference in lockdown while I look like Robin Williams from Jumanji, says Asim. I got rid of most of my face rug, but yeah, the hats will remain for at least the foreseeable because of the boo font that's growing underneath. It's been backed up by Rand, who's a known close insider with the Xbox brand. See, and that is kind of cool. I like that kind of leak. No leak is a good leak, and from Xbox's point of view, it's probably stealing their thunder of an announcement, because the worst thing is people then take it as known news. So Xbox posts something now, every comment comes, yeah, fuck that, I don't care about the new games on Games with Gold or whatever. Tell me about this conference. And it's like, what conference? I can't acknowledge that because I've never mentioned the conference. Rand and Shinobi have mentioned the conference, which means that their social teams are dealing with shit. And so it is all a bit crap. However, from my selfish perspective, I don't mind stuff like that because that allows me to know that Xbox are going to give me surprises. If they're just saying, oh, Xbox have surprises, fair enough, and they're not spoiling the surprises, it's a little bit of a lesser crime. It's still a crime, but it's a lesser crime. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Yes.
So yeah, that's by teasing the event, it's less offensive than teasing the content that will be in the event, because you're essentially helping to hype it without their permission, and you're still pissing on their timelines and so on, but you're helping to hype them as opposed to taking the hype for yourself. Entirely anyway. Fatman Dave says I look a bit like Hagrid. And what about COVID-19? If it's instant teasers from official sources or people, I like that. Just not one for these leakers and insiders. Yeah, I can't. It's like having in the know accounts in the football industry when it's the summer transfer window. I'm in the know, wink wink, because all I'm going to do is tweet something about Paul Pogba or whoever else's big money transfer potential these days. I mean, I know nothing about it, but it just helps me get clicks, which then helps me make money. So yeah, I'm in the know. Facebook just launched its new esports platform. Really? Interesting. We'll have to look at that for tomorrow's program, because we are done for today. A little bit over the time that we were aiming for, because that's just the way we roll. But that is it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. We are done. The scoop is finito. All of the news has been condensed. Oh, actually, one more thing to do just before we do start to wrap up is show Jordan's face again.
I knew that would come in.
Cheers, John. No, but that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in today, and thank you very much for sticking around, even though we made you look at Jordan's freshly trimmed Barnet and can of Carlsberg in the background. And do you know what? I'm only jealous. I wish I had a can of Carlsberg, and I wish I had a freshly trimmed Barnet. So yeah, it's only me hating because I'm jealous. That's all it is. But anyway, I hope you've had an enjoyable time here where we've talked a few things. We have a lot of content still to come, but there's also really been a lot that we've put out this week already. We've had our first ever special guest appearance by Mr. Tassim Anvia, as we've had in the chat, the noted, reputable industry insider / leaker. We've had all of that. We've talked to the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller, and today we've talked a lot more too. If you've missed it, if you're late into the chat, you can watch the video on demand. We'll be uploading it to YouTube, or you can just watch the whole thing back on Twitch when we go off air. The audio version will be live across all social media later on in the day. And do you know what? I'll type !make socials in the chat for you. So if you want to find our links at Ice Cream Uploads across all formats, you'll be able to follow us and you get all of the latest updates for when we go live, what the content is, and so on. Feel free to check them all out. But anything you want to add before we disappear for the day, babe?
Yes, just like Jordan did today, if you feel like you have seen something that you think is worthy to be talked by us on this scoop, then do feel free to add your thoughts and impressions to it as well by tweeting at... We've got a great one. I just saw it on the corner of my eye. Oh, no, you bastard.
It was the audio stop. You went, feel free to, by tweeting at... And it just cut off. I was like, at?
Oh, okay.
So feel free by tweeting
Robo
what bit.
Vivian. At Graham_day, at We've Got a Bin, at Ice Cream Uploads. We'll take your thoughts and impressions, add our thoughts and impressions, and include it in the very next show, which is.
I'm assuming you said which is, and if you did, then 2 p.m. tomorrow.
There you go. I did say that.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can see Beans and Tassimanvia, aka Asim10Veer, have already posted it in the chat, but we have an exclusive emote that you can use whenever we go offline for one of our streams. So feel free to use it. All I'm going to do is, repeat it to you anyway. So have yourselves a lovely day. Remember, stay frosty.